In an effort to understand some of the key fundamentals that drive the waste and recycling industry, and having over 50 years of experience in these fields, we have developed a website, waste.net, to act as a tool to assist in conceptualizing the 4R strategy: reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover. In this video we are going to focus on the recycling of copper scrap. Copper is a common non-ferrous metal that is not magnetic and can be identified by its distinctive orange color. Copper turns green on the surface as it oxidizes or weathers, and scratching the surface will expose its true color. When dealing with recycling of copper scrap, you would first start by separating out or excluding all other types of metals and non-metallic materials from your waste feedstock. This then allows you to focus entirely on the processing and recycling of the copper waste. Separating your scrap copper into the different grades and specifications will allow you to yield best value for your scrap materials. The basis of the recovery values of copper scrap is determined by the percentage of copper contained in each item. There are two basic classifications of copper scrap: directly meltable solid scrap copper and copper content scrap materials. First, let's review the meltable solid copper scraps. This scrap may contain pipe, wire, plate, sheet, bar, or any miscellaneous copper products. The meltable solid copper scraps are sorted and classified into the following grades. Number 1, heavy scrap copper. These are clean unalloyed copper solids and must be uncoated. Copper clippings, punchings, bus bars, commutator segments, clean copper pipe or tubing, and heavy copper wire thicker than 1/16 of an inch, but are free of burnt or brittle wire may be included in this grade. Number 2, scrap copper may contain clean, oxidized, coated or plated copper clippings, punchings, bus bars, commutator segments, and oxidized copper pipe or tubing. Number 3, scrap copper includes light scrap copper sheet, gutters, downspouts, kettles, boilers, foil, unburned hair wire, and copper turnings. Within these solid meltable scrap copper grades are a multitude of items which are also sorted further into separate more specific items. These are clean unalloyed copper wire scrap, which are: number 1, bare bright copper wire scrap, commonly referred to as millberry, which is a thick wire of 16 gauge or thicker. Number 1, copper wire scrap that is 16 gauge or thicker but that is not necessarily bright or shiny. Number 2, copper wire scrap, which is a clean copper wire, thinner than 16 gauge and is free of hair wire, brittle burnt wire, and excessive oils, with a minimum copper content remelt recovery rate of 94%. Number 3, copper wire scrap, which is clean, unburnt hair wire. Another meltable solid copper scrap that is beneficial to be further sorted or segregated are clean and soldered copper pipe scraps. These are sorted into: first, clean new copper pipe scrap, which is an unalloyed copper pipe that is free of paint, solder, and other materials. Second, old used tarnished plumbing pipes, which once the soldered joints are removed is designated as black pipe. And third, soldered copper pipe scrap which still have soldered joints or ends or the accumulated clipped ends and joints. These pipes must be free of brass or bronze and non-copper fittings. Beryllium copper scrap, which consists of clean beryllium alloyed copper solids which may contain clippings, punchings, bar or pipe, tubing, and elbows. Copper aluminum radiator scrap, which consists of unalloyed copper tubing, surrounded by aluminum cooling fins. This scrap may be derived from typical heat exchange radiators. Copper wire nodules come from chopping or shredding operations. These nodules have two classifications: number 1, copper wire nodules that consist of number 1, bare, uncoated, unalloyed copper wire nodules, not smaller than 16 gauge, with a minimum copper content of 99% remelt recovery rate, and number 2, copper wire nodules that consist of number 2, unalloyed copper wire nodules, with a minimum copper content of 97% remelt recovery rate. Copper turnings that consist of unalloyed copper turnings, grindings or borings, and that may be contaminated with cutting oils. And finally, copper residues. This would include copper-bearing wastes and copper residues that are collected from copper melting skimmings and slags, copper ashes and oxides, plating sludges and filter cakes, and are refined on a copper recovery basis. Now let's review copper content scraps. There are many common materials that are classified as copper content scrap, such as insulated wire and cable, and items like electric motor scrap, starters, alternators, armatures, commutators, and copper windings. Insulated wire and cables are typically processed using one of two methods: wire stripping or cable chopping. These methods are used to separate the insulation materials in order to recover clean uniform copper nodules, clean uniform aluminum, clean uniform steel, uniform plastics, bagged air filtered dust, and residues, like paper. Electric motor scrap typically consists of steel shells with copper wire coil windings. The electric motor scrap contains copper in the internal windings, with the copper content varying by motor type. The primary value of electric motor scrap is derived from the separation or recovery of the copper windings from the iron content. Iron may be recovered from the core, and other metals such as aluminum and rare earth magnets may also be recovered. Additional copper content scrap materials include many electronic scrap materials such as circuit board scrap, power supplies, and electronic component scrap. These items are difficult to manually clean and are typically accumulated and sold based on the copper recovery value. After you have separated and/or processed the copper scrap, you may then determine your copper recovery values. When copper is remelted, the best yields are from bare bright scrap. Green surface materials yield less due to the melt loss of the oxides. Thick or heavy gauge wires yield better than thin materials due to exposed surface area contained in each ton of scrap. Burnt or brittle scrap has an unusually high melt loss and therefore has a lesser value. If you need assistance in finding a market to buy, sell, or trade scrap copper, please check out our website, waste.net. Waste.net is a tool to assist with the matching of waste material generators directly with beneficial users of those materials. By connecting you with market participants, we foster collaboration and promote environmental sustainability. If you are seeking more information about the recycling of copper scrap, feel free to reach out to a core group of industry professionals. They can provide you with current data and answer any questions you may have. Our website, waste.net, was developed to act as a tool to assist in conceptualizing the 4R strategy: reduce, reuse, recycle, and recover, and to manage resources in a sustainable method by treating waste as a resource. If you would like more information about recycling of scrap copper, additional videos are available and links have been provided in the comments, or feel free to reach out to us. Visit our website waste.net today to learn more. Let us assist you in finding a market to buy or sell your scrap, waste, or byproducts.